Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Wednesday edition of Sacred Spaces, Elder Storytelling. Tonight, we're doing something a little different. My name is Tanis Peranto. I am the events and media manager with the community house here. Tonight, we're doing something called Traditional Knowledge and Teachings. And we have a graphic posted on our Facebook page that you can check out that we posted earlier today. This week, our special guest is Red Woman, Nadima Agard, Cherokee Lakota Powhatan. Nadima is a visual artist, illustrator, curator, educator, lecturer, storyteller, writer, poet, published author, museum professional, Indigenous rights advocate, and consultant in repatriation and multicultural Native American arts and cultures. She has a Master's of Arts degree in Art and Education from Teachers College, Columbia University, and is currently the director of Red Earth Studio Consulting Productions in New York City. As a Native American who has been educated and traveled internationally, she is a bridge between urban and traditional cultures. Nadima Agard was born and raised in New York City and later returned to her maternal ancestral homelands in the Carolinas and her paternal grandmother's homeland in Virginia, after she received a National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship to write her Southeastern Native Arts Directory. Almost a decade later, as the repatriation director of the Standing Rock Sioux tribe, she was again reunited with her paternal grandfather's Lakota relatives in the Dakotas, who had, 5 years earlier, arranged for her to receive her Lakota name, Winyan Luta, during a naming ceremony officiated by a traditional elder. Although her name in the Lakota language literally means woman holy red, with the word Luta as holy red, it can be translated into English as red woman. What a beautiful bio. Well, Nadima, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm going to let you take it away.
Good day, everyone. I'm going to talk to you today about the holy beings of the Lakota and the Cherokee people. The first being I'm going to talk to you about is called Double Woman. In the 1980s, I curated a show of work by Lakota women who did quill work at the Museum of the American Indian. What I'm going to read is the soundtrack from the video called Gift of Double Woman, Quill Work of the Lakota. In the days of our grandmothers, the old ones told of legends out of the past. There were those who told of Double Woman who brought the art of porcupine quilling to Lakota women from the spirit world. Some said she sang from rocky cliffs, luring women to her teepee, but no one ever saw her except in dreams. They said when tan robes were left at her teepee, they were returned with fine quill designs. Some called her Deer Woman and said her footprints turned to deer tracks where she walked. Others said she was an enchantress and no man was equal to her spell. Some said she was a crazy woman who laughed uncontrollably and did the work of men. But all said that she was Wakan, 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 sacred, 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 and that to dream of Double Woman inspired beautiful quill designs. They said the first Lakota woman was taught by Double Woman to quill a robe, and to this day, a quill robe brings honor to its maker. And all said that those who dreamed of Double Woman were Wakan. In everything they made with quills, no one excelled them. Many were our grandmothers who knew the Double Woman vision. Long before trade beads were introduced by white traders, Lakota women used dyed porcupine quills to beautify their lodges. Quill dangles decorated the smoke flaps of their buffalo hide teepees. Bright wall designs were a source of pride of the lodge owner and the tribe. The finest winter robe with its quilt strip would be hung for all to admire. Willow backrests and clothing were adorned with colored quills. Moccasins and teepee bags were ornamented by tireless hands. Gifts were quilled for friends and relatives. A Lakota woman's quill work was an honor to her family and a mark of her prestige in the village, for quilling was the highest attainment of all the women's arts. In contests of the early quilling societies, a baby carrier was the most respected item. Its measure of wealth was equal in value to a horse. Its maker shared honors with brave warriors in the Red Council Lodge. The finest quill work adorned the ceremonial pieces. A wrapped or sewn-on pipe bag or finely plaited pipe stems reflect the cultural traditions as well as individual artistry. Many were the things of beauty that brightened the ceremonial dances. A Lakota woman looked with quiet pride at the garment she quilled for herself and for her husband. Often, sisters or cousins would sit together and visit in the quiet times of quilling. The black choke cherries drying in the sun would wait for another day to be pounded. Our grandmothers tell us of an old woman endlessly quilling a robe. They say if she should ever finish her quill work design, it would be the end of the world. As narrated by H.J. Nauman. The next story is about the sacred white buffalo calf maiden, also called the white buffalo calf woman. But in my understanding from my spiritual mother and Lakota godmother, Ina McNeil, who taught me all that I know, it was my understanding that she was a maiden. She was a virgin. So, so that's why the word woman is translated into English. It's not really specific enough. But in Lakota, she is a maiden. This was a long time ago that this story began, and there was a whole village of people camped out, and there were these two young men that went out hunting, and they had different personalities. One was very, very quiet, reserved. The other one was really outgoing, macho, aggressive. So they went hunting, but they were friends. They were very opposite, but they were friends. They were very good friends. So they went out hunting, and they went out on the prairie, and they got to this high point, like a hill. And they were like overlooking the animals, you know, and especially those animals going to the river to drink, you know. So they would have a good aim if they wanted to shoot their arrows. So they were watching it, and then they saw something coming towards them that looked like a little brown buffalo. But then as it got closer, it wasn't a buffalo, it was a beautiful woman. And she had this beautiful buckskin dress, and she had beautiful long hair. And when she talked, she was talking like she was singing. She was singing like she was talking. And she said, she talked to them, and one of them saw her as something very desirous. Like he was definitely a very carnal person, and he was very much lusting after her. The other one stood with respect because he saw her in his spiritual eye as something very sacred. And the one that was very macho, aggressive, he went towards her, and this cloud enveloped them. And when the cloud came lifted, he was no longer existing except for being bones. She turned him into bones. So this was the, kind of story we would tell at sexual harassment workshops, because that was important to address this story as a story about attempted sexual harassment. So then the she instructed the young man to go to her village to make way for her, because she wanted to come visit them and she had a gift for them. And she said, go to your village and tell them I'm coming. So then she turned into a white buffalo cow. She was a cow, not a tatanka male buffalo, but a female buffalo, pete, okay? So then she went away as that buffalo, and he went to the village to tell the people. And when he got there, they didn't believe him. And although they did, prepare a lot of, they did prepare a big meeting hall, a lot of the people did not believe him. And, they had a teepee that was made with 2 or 3 teepees, and it's called a teepee yahike. And so they had this big dwelling made with 3 teepees or 2 or 3 teepees. And so then all of a sudden this little, what they call in Lakota tahihila, a little light brown buffalo calf came running through the camp, and all the, kids started running after it. But then once it was cornered, an apparition appeared, and instead of the buffalo calf, there was this beautiful maiden with a bundle on her back. And the people have prepared this place for her, a place of honor. They have put down sweetgrass, they put down sage and scented herbs, all properly blessed by the traditional people, what people call as medicine men, but they don't really call themselves medicine men, but whatever they are the people that do this. So so then she comes in, and they pay her a lot of respect, and she says that she has a gift from the Takuwakan, or the creator. And she says that, I'm going to give you this gift, but you've got to be humble with this gift, and you've got to respect the creator and be guided by the rules of this gift. So she takes out this bundle, and she has this pipe. And the bowl is made out of red stone, okay? We'll talk about that a little bit later. And then the stem is made out of wood. And at the joint are 12 eagle feathers. And those represent, and she also brought with herself this round, she had this round ball, like this round stone. And that was also the gift. And so she said that represented the earth, our mother. And that we had to, and all living things, vegetation and water and all living things. And the pipe had a buffalo calf head decorating it. And she said that represented the fact that the buffalo was sacred to them, and that they had to venerate all 4-legged as well that inhabited the earth. And if they saw, animals with their youngs, to leave them alone, and different instructions. She gave us the pipe, the sacred pipe, the Chanupawakan. Not they, Americanized version is the peace pipe, but we don't call it the peace pipe, we call it the sacred pipe. And so she took the pipe and she smoked the pipe, and she showed them how to stoke the tobacco, and she made the pipe. She held the pipe with the stem up to the sky, and then she held the pipe to the four directions: east, south, west, and north. And then she held the pipe downward to the Mother Earth. And then she told them that they had to follow this instruction to use the pipe to communicate with the Great Spirit, and that there would be other rites that would follow. So she brought us the rite of the sacred pipe ceremony, and she brought us the stone representing the earth. But she said there would be 6 other rites that would follow. And the other 6 rites are the inipi, the sweat lodge. And that's pretty universal with Native Americans. So, but it's a ceremonial gathering of people inside of the sweat lodge, which represents, when you go into it, your mother. And then when you come out of it, you are born again. So, and then the other ceremony of great importance is Hamblecha. And that is something that Vision Quest, that is something that many Native peoples have as well, that you go out and you seek a vision, you go to a secluded place and you stay there for 4 days and 4 nights without certain things that are important, but you survive it and you come back with a vision. And then the other important ceremony that's very central to Lakota life, it just occurred at the summer solstice, is the sun dance. And the word in Lakota is Wiwang Wachipi. And that is a dance that the people do, Hechelena Oyate King, so that the people may live. So when people have illness or something, they make tobacco ties and they give them to put on the pole, the center pole of the sun dance. And men dance for 4 days and 4 nights. Women give flesh. They dance for 4 days and 4 nights. They don't eat, they don't drink, so that the people may live. And the last part of that dance, they get pierced and they rip the flesh. And when they do that, they're totally one with Creator. It's an incredible experience that I've been blessed to be part of. Although I'm not a sun dancer, I have been to a sun dance. And I've also been in the sweat lodge, so and pipe ceremony as well. The other thing is the hunkapi. That's a making of a relative. So let's say you want to adopt someone into your family, you're making a hunkap with that person. So you have a ceremony called a hunkapi. And then you have like a big feed, a big giveaway of gifts. Is a very, very beautiful experience. And then there's the keeping of the soul, which is a very, very sacred ceremony, because in the Lakota understanding, they say there's the Nagi and the Wanagi. One stays with the body and one goes. And then one that maybe people thought they don't do it anymore, but lately I have heard that people are renewing this other rite, and that rite is Ishna Ka Awi Cha Loan, and that's preparing a girl for womanhood. So that is called tossing the ball for her. They say in English, tossing the ball for her, and that's a rite of passage from maiden to woman. And so Those are the seven Lakota rites altogether. The pipe itself represents, the bowl represents the female, the stem represents the male. The stem is beautifully and lovingly decorated by a female. The bowl is beautifully and lovingly created by a male. So that those two things are balanced. And the stem and the bowl can only be joined in ceremony. And at that time, they represent the whole, that pipe represents the whole universe. I have my own pipe that was given to me, but it stays unjoined. It would not be joined unless it was in ceremony. So a lot of museums have been advised to take their pipes out and pull them apart because it's not really acceptable to the Lakota people. So that's what I have to say about the white buffalo calf woman. But when she left, they said she turned into different colored buffalo. Then another story said that she turned into different ages of a buffalo. A baby buffalo, a kind of teenage buffalo, then a grown-up buffalo, then an old buffalo. So it's kind of representing the 4 stages of life and the 4 colors of humanity. I do have a beautiful doll that Ina made for me, representing the white buffalo calf woman, and I treasure it. So the next story is going to be more, it's sort of not as formal. It's a storybook that I actually wrote. So I'm going to share with you the story and the images because the artwork I did the artwork and I wrote, and I did not invent the story, but I wrote the story for children so that children could understand. So the first, this story is called Sailu and Conaty, Cherokee Corn Mother and Lucky Hunter. Story starts deep in the woods in the land of the Cherokee. Sailu, the Corn Mother, lived with her husband Conaty, the Lucky Hunter. They lived a peaceful life and gave their children plenty to eat. Every morning, Father Conaty went out to hunt for food. Every evening, he would return with his deer, turkey, fish, or some other animal. Trying to get the glare off of it. Mother Sailu also went out to gather food every morning. She would return with many ears of corn. She would cut the corn from the cob, put it in a mortar, and pound the kernels to make fine meal. So here is Sailu, Corn Mother. Mother Sailu used the meal to make bread, cereal, and delicious pudding. Sometimes she made a fine venison stew from deer meat. Other times she roasted a turkey or baked some fish in the deep earth oven. So here are the children. They're all sitting around the table discussing stuff. As the children grew older, they wanted to know where Mother Sailu and Father Conaty got their food. They spoke amongst themselves. Here they are, the little curious ones. Mother brings home corn every day, but we have never seen corn growing anywhere, they said. Father returns with a different animal every evening, but we never see these animals in the woods. So here's Dad returning with the hunt. So one day the children decided to follow their father and mother. The children who followed the father saw him go to a place not far from their home. Conaty rolled away a large stone from the opening to a cave. He called into the cave, "Come, brother deer." A deer walked out and Conaty picked it up. Then he closed the entrance of the cave and walked off. So the children became very excited. The oldest said, "Let us do what father did. Let us roll away the stone." So they pushed and finally moved the heavy stone away. Once the cave was open, the children thought the animals would walk out. This did not happen. Instead, all the animals ran out, jumping and running every which way. So you see the kids, and now you see the animals running out, the different animals. The wolf, the bear, the deer, the rabbit, the raccoon. The children were amazed and surprised by the escape of the animals. After a short while, the children began to feel scared. Oh my God, the oldest child said, "Let us return home and say nothing of what we took place today." They all agreed. So here they are returning home, sadly. Meanwhile, the children who followed mother saw her go to a small cabin. Once inside, Sailu began to shake herself. Ears of corn fell from her body into a basket on the ground. The children's eyes were wide as they watched their mother. Then Sailu picked up the basket and went home to prepare a meal as she always did. So here they are sneaking off to see where mom went. And they found out, but they didn't know what the consequences of that was. So "Let us get home before mother does," whispered one of the children. They ran as fast as they could. As they waited to eat, the children felt sure their mother did not know they had spied on her. But after dinner that night, there was a long silence. Finally, Father Conaty spoke. "Children, I know what you did today, and because of your actions, you must take care of yourself and hunt the animals you set loose from now on and forever." Here we go. Hope you don't mind my father voice. Conaty's face was sad as he gave the children the bows and arrows he had just finished making. Then he bid his children farewell. "I must die now," he said, "but I will always be with you in the spirit of the hunt." So here he is giving them the last gift that he will give them. After Conaty went away, Mother Sailu spoke in a whisper. "I know you have also found out my secret, so I too must die." There was a great sadness among the children. "When I die," Sailu continued, "you must make a large clearing and drag my body around in a circle 7 times. Then you must drag me 7 times inside the circle and wait until morning. If you do this, you will have full-grown ripe corn to eat, but be sure to save the seeds for the next year's planting. I will always be with you in the spirit of the corn." So here we have this image. The children listened to Sailu, but when she died, they made 7 small clearings instead of one large clearing. And instead of 7 times, they dragged her only 2 times. This is why corn grows in only a few places today, and the crop must be planted twice. So a lot of stories that we read to our children always have a happy ending. So I think some of the parents, when they got this, they said, "Oh my, but it's really a sad ending." You know, they were just really surprised that the story had a sad ending. But the story had a message, and the message was to respect and honor, you know, certain things, and don't question certain things, because it may or may not save your life. So a lot of our children are trained to be very inquisitive and ask lots of why this, why. But a lot of our learning, as we all know here, are we learn by example, not so much by saying stuff. But and so, you know, the Cherokee people, they have pretty much lived in the eastern southeast, and then they were relocated to Oklahoma, as many of you know. So we have the eastern Cherokee, which is the Cherokee, and then you have the western Cherokee, which is the Chalagi. So I've been to North Carolina, to the Cherokee Reservation there, and to Oklahoma. And a lot of the traditions that they have in North Carolina are being preserved in Oklahoma as well. But there's the place that is very traditional is Qualla in North Carolina. While I was there, I was writing the Southeastern Native Directory, and I interviewed lots of the people that were carvers. They were basket weavers. There were booger mask makers. Lots of carvers and lots of weaving. Beautiful cane baskets that are made with, I believe, river cane or swamp cane. I'm not really sure. I know one makes it with river and one makes it with swamp. It may be the swamp is further southeast, but the cane baskets are really important, beautiful treasures. And I do have some beautiful cane baskets, and also some beautiful Cherokee pottery. And it just so happened that last year when I had my Cherokee dress made, it turned out that this person was a granddaughter who I met on Facebook, was a granddaughter of both. I had met both her grandmothers and had interviewed them for my directory. So it was just like a homecoming. And I said, "I think I have a pot by your grandmother, you know." And I did.